welcome to the Backyard Machine Shop. Today guys, we're working on the John Doe Shaper, and what we're doing today, we actually have got it put back together. If you remember the last video, we took and poured the babbitt bearings for the drive shaft, and now we've put all that together. We've put the gear on, we've put the cone pulley on, and now we can actually drive the shaper. So this is just like you think about having a motor on it, pulling it. It's working really well. Now, if you notice this bolt's in here because typically this thing is fastened together with a taper pin, and I didn't feel like driving the taper pin in and driving it back out several times, fitting everything. So I just put a bolt through there with a nut on either side, and it's working for what I need it for today. So anyway, we've got it pretty much fully extended in its stroke, and this is the return stroke, and it returns twice as fast as it does on the actual working stroke. So we're at the end of its stroke right now. I'm going to leave it right there. So what have we found out? Well, we found out the machine works, and that and so we can go forward from here. So what we're going to do today, this is going to be a pretty, what I can think is going to be a pretty short video. We're actually going to take some measurements now that we have the stroke working. And if you look at the end of the table here, we have a 16-inch angle plate mounted to our ways. Now that angle plate has been machined to 90 degrees. So I'm pretty confident in that angle plate. What we need to do now though is we need to check that angle plate, and I've checked it and it's pretty close, but I'll show you how I checked it. But we need to check that angle plate and see if we're square with the ways. And then we're going to do some measurements. So if you hold on, we'll fix that up. What we did here, how I set this up now, if I had a cylinder square, that would be what I'd use. I don't have one, so we have to do what we can with what we have. So what I've done is I've stoned this surface and got out all the high spots, and then we've stoned this surface and got out its high spots. So we're wiping it clean, and then we have our 246 blocks. Okay, like I said, if you had a cylinder square, that would be the perfect thing to use. So that's just the way I have to do it. And how accurate does it need to be for what I'm doing? So, all right, so we've got our 246 block there, and then we take a feeler gauge, and this is a 1.5 thou. See if you can see that. 1.5 thou feeler gauge, and then we're going to come in and check it, and we stuck right there, but other than that we have no clearance. So we're pretty confident that we're within 1.5 thou here, and that's the extent of feelers I've got. Now we can take light, shine it on the back, and I don't see anything coming through. Again, this is a square block, whereas you really need a cylindrical square to where it can only have one surface touching. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a indicator. But I guess the first thing we need to do is I want to mark out this angle plate. So it's 16 inches long. I'm going to mark it out at every 4 inches. And then 16. Okay, so what we're going to do is take our indicator and we're going to mount our indicator somewhere here. Now the secret to this is to find the point to where this indicator doesn't hit anything. Looks good right there. Okay. Alright, so we take our marker. This is our beginning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stroke this out to each one of these marks, and we're going to record our findings. So we've got it set up. Well, before that, let's make sure we don't run off the end of the all right, so we got to stroke all the way out to there. All right, perfect. It's about as good as we can get it. So we'll set us a 0. All right, so we're at 0 right there. Let's work it out to the first mark. Say about right there. We're at 2,000 plus 2,000s. Our second mark, right at 5,000ths. Okay, so this would be probably 3 inches from the 0, so that would be 7 inches from 0. All right, so right there we're at like 8 thou, and that's 11 inches from 0. And all right, that's like, and that is 10 inches from 0, or 10,000ths. And we go to 0, we're at 13.5 inches. 13,000ths, there you go. Work. All right, so my next test that I want to do is I want to see how much play is in this ram. So I'm going to lean on it. And I can't get it to move. I'm going to pick up on it. And it doesn't look like it's moving much there either. So it's telling me everything in here is fitted really nice, and that we've done a good job on that. So guys, again, pretty much works effortlessly. So there you have it. We're at about 10,000ths and 13 inches on the ram, and it's pretty consistent across the board. So it tells me that the ways in here are just sloped and are out of square with the ways on for the table. Now the ways on the table probably have wear in them too, so there's probably some added errors in there. I couldn't tell you, but until we start really working on it, what they're going to be. But with it set up just like it is right now, we've got 10,000ths and 13.5 inches. So what's next? Well, I've done about as much as I was going to do in this what I call roughing stage. I wanted to put it back together, and I wasn't putting it back together permanently. I wanted to put it back together till I can get it to the point where it worked. I can check out all its mechanisms, make sure everything's working. There's several things that need attention. There's a collar that's cracked down in the bottom, which has really no effect on it, except that you can't really tighten down one of the screws. The drive pulley has got a small crack in it, needs to be brazed. Very simple repair. Probably really doesn't ever have to need it, but probably will repair it. The main bearing may need some attention. Don't know. Going to evaluate that when we take it back apart. Let's see, what else was it? There's a bevel gear set up in there to adjust the travel. One or two of the teeth are broke off. Right now, I don't see it being a problem. We may address that. We may make another bevel gear or repair that one. But anyway, we've got it to the point to where I wanted it to be, to where I can take these measurements. Now, next thing to do is we need to evaluate what we need to do with this main casting, because I think that's causing the the slope in that 10 thousandths. If you remember, there was about 5 thousandths wear in this casting when we measured it when it was all apart. So we're going to take this. Now we're going to do one of two things. One is either I'm going to set it up here in my shop, and I've got some ideas about where to do that at, and how to do it. So I'm going to attempt to set it up. My mill is a little small for this big casting, but we're going to give it an attempt. I think I got a good idea how to do it, and if I'm comfortable with the way it's set up and it works out great, then we'll go ahead and put the cutter on it and we'll do the machine work. If not, I had mentioned Brian Block had agreed to do some work on it if I needed him to. He's working on his HBM now, and if you hadn't checked that out, go over to Brian Block's channel and check out his HBM. You know, it's a really nice machine. He's getting there, getting it set up. So if I cannot get the machine work done here, I'm planning on taking it to him. The problem with that is I probably won't be able to get it to him until another month or so, and I'm not sure if he's going to have his HBM ready then, and then if he does it, that's fine. You know, and then it's going to be another probably 5 or 6 months before I can go back and get it. I've traveled to Kentucky to where Brian Block, within a few miles of Brian, several times a year, but it's you know, I think July we're planning on flying, September we're planning on flying, and then in October we're probably going to drive up. So you know, it'll be about several months before I can even get it back, and then all the other work that's going to be the lengthy work will start. If I get it machined, probably get it done within the next month or next few weeks. It shouldn't be an issue. The only issue I have with machining it here is the only thing I can machine is in the casting in this part, the ways here. The front ways, I don't have a machine big enough to handle it to do both of those. So that's where Brian's big HBM can come into play. He can do both sides for me. All right, so what's our plans from then on? Well, I'm planning on scraping this machine in. Now, I've talked in the past about scraping it and acquiring the tools to scrape. Now, the biggest thing that I need, and if anybody out there has one that they need to sell or can find one local that's cheap, let me know. I need a AccuFinish grinder or any other slow speed diamond carbide type grinder. AccuFinish is one of them that's out there that you see on eBay a lot. I don't know if there's any others. I have seen where people use like a carbide grinder and use the side of the wheel. That's a possibility. But things like that, as far as scrapers, I'm good. I would like to have a power scraper, but it's not necessary. I just need a way to keep my tools sharp. And so I'm looking for that. I'm looking for an AccuFinish grinder. And, you know, that's about it. So I'm going to spend the next few weeks looking for that. And like I said, if anybody out there knows where one might be that's available, reasonable, I mean, because they bring a good chunk of money even on eBay. So it just needs to save up for that. Other than that, it's just the amount of doing the work. I think that this machine deserves to be scraped in. I want to do it. That's something that I've went and had these classes. I've done a little bit of it, and the only way to learn to do it, get better, is to do it. So that's my plan. I hope I stick with it. Like I said, it may be 8 months, a year before we get to this machine actually making chips, but that's where we at. So it took about 2 years with the Pratt & Whitney, mainly because I'd work on it a while, get tired of working on it, and start on something else. But this machine here is probably going to end up being the same way. So guys, with all that said, I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate the comments and all the advice. I mean, come on, some of the advice it's unbelievable what the knowledge base is out there that watches these videos. And I know to do it right, that's what you need to do. So anyway, again, I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate the comments. And until next time, from the Backyard Machine Shop, so long.